Would you rather be a creative and artistic, broke and homeless artist, or perhaps a successful and influential member of society? Today we'll be talking about the choices that we can make and the characteristics that we display that affect our success within the field of photography and take us either towards the broke artist path or the successful businessman path. So we'll start with the portfolio. As we mentioned previously, our portfolios have a huge impact on us as photographers. It is the medium that we use to display our work, be it a website or a social media platform. Obviously, people prefer a lively platform or a lively portfolio rather than a dead portfolio. By that I mean it's just a bunch of great looking images displayed. They show technical knowledge, they show artistry, but they don't usually display or portray the emotions or the experiences of a photographer. However, a lively portfolio, perhaps something that includes tidbits of inspirational material or a behind the scene look at the photographer as an individual, what they drew in their inspirations from, perhaps some bloopers here and there, or jokes, something that can just kind of like make this platform or this portfolio intriguing and interesting and fun for whoever is viewing it. So second is the attitude. So say if I am a person who is nerdy, techie, and I portray that character or that attribute in my day-to-day activities, be it in the like marketing material or during like photography sessions, people will not find that an interesting character to connect with. No one really wants to hire the nerdy, tech obsessed, perfectionist individual. They would rather be with someone who is like more lively, bubbly, fun, energetic. That kind of person excites them, engages them, is fun to be around. Overall, a more pleasant individual when considering hiring someone for a job. Obviously, as I mentioned, touching on the techie part, when I look at images as a potential client, I look for emotions. I look for something that draws me into the subject that has been photographed. I'd rather see a beautiful child smiling than perfectly lit, perfectly exposed, perfectly focused portrait of a like poker face child. For me, that the smile of the child brings warmth to my heart, whereas the perfect poker face portrait doesn't connect me to the subject. It doesn't bring out any emotions. So I would probably remember the happy child rather than the poker face child. Aside from those, we can talk about humility, especially when we're talking about getting attention and getting reactions from the community. People would rather stay and connect with someone whose feet are still on the ground, rather than be around someone who is egoistic and full of themselves. And I mean, nobody likes that kind of character, and nobody wants to feel inferior to other people. So if I want to hire a photographer, I wouldn't want to be with someone who would look down on me. I would rather be with someone who is genuinely on my level. Obviously, also appearance plays a big part. Look who's talking. But yeah, I mean, basically, if I want to hire someone, I would actually maybe subconsciously pay attention to the way they're dressed, the way they're groomed. I mean, we surround ourselves with people who are on, say, our same level. We don't want to hire a homeless, messy, unpleasant-looking individual, to take our pictures. Well, unless that person happens to be a big celebrity. But even then, I doubt that it would work for them. Aside from these choices, something else that photographers need to work on is their connections. Word of mouth is one of the strongest and biggest marketing approaches and successful strategies that any photographer or any creative individual can play. Basically, if I am out, with friends, and someone highlights or mentions that, oh well, I am my child just turned two last, or is turning 2 in a week, and I'm looking for a photographer, to hire for the birthday party. And then, well, it happens that someone else jumps out of nowhere and says, oh, there is this friend of mine who is a fantastic photographer. She is just great, and she works beautifully with children, and her pictures are just amazing. You have to check her out. So the person who was who had or who brought up this inquiry, well, there is a big chance that they would actually hire that photographer even before looking at their work, just based on the recommendation of their friend. So connections goes a long way, and should be really considered when doing photography. Keep your connections with people, build new connections, engage, be the person that can be recommended for the next job. Obviously, also the right networking and social media tools are important. We already mentioned during the talk about the portfolio that keeping people, the audience, engaged is like, I can't stress how important that is. Sadly, I haven't been deploying this strategy perfectly. I'm still working on it, but it doesn't hurt to bring it out and mention it, in case it could help you out while preparing your marketing material for your photography business. And finally, I just want to stress on the point that great pictures are not enough. How often have you heard of someone who is one of the top 5 photographers, say, in a country, yet, well, they're not maybe one of the most successful photographers in that country? It's not just about the quality of the picture, it's about the experience. Experience is what really matters at the end. As long as you're a good photographer, as long as you could take good pictures, leaving a good or a great impression from the photography experience towards the client, gets you further than just presenting great pictures. I hope this episode was of value to you. If you have other points that you would like to include or mention, aside from the ones I already talked about, feel free to do so in the comment section. If you agree or disagree, let me know again in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate if you do so you can be updated when I release future episodes. Wish you a great day ahead, and cheers.